Welcome to the Artist Work Ethic Podcast. I'm Mike Pelak. I'm a screenwriter and filmmaker who's always looking to maximize my time and potential as I work to break in. In this podcast, I talk to artists of all kinds who have seen success in their fields about their process, habits, and work ethic. Today on the show is Rich Redmond. Rich is a drummer, actor, speaker, and author, best known as the drummer for country star Jason Aldean. As a drummer, he's got a slew of hit songs and platinum records with Jason Aldean, and has performed with a who's who of country. Rich is also an actor, a speaker, an author, and a podcaster. A couple quick things before we jump into the episode. I've talked in the past about myself working on breaking into screenwriting. Please check out blackoilfilms.com/screenwriting. There you can check out some of the screenplays I've written. I have the first 10 pages of each one uploaded, but feel free to email me at theartistsworkethicpodcast@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to send you a full script if you're interested in reading. The script I want to highlight today is an original 1-hour pilot called Top of the Hill. Top of the Hill is about an up-and-coming congressman who discovers his car covered in blood with no recollection of the night before. Now he must unravel what happened, all while navigating a campaign, a divorce, a traitor, and alcoholism. Last thing before we get into the episode, I would love anyone listening to subscribe, rate, and review the Artist's Work Ethic Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. It really helps us put the show out there for more people to listen to. All right, Rich, thank you for coming on with me today.
Thanks so much for having me.
So you do a ton in the arts between drumming for Jason Aldean. You have a podcast. You've got a book out. You're an actor. What do you think instilled that work ethic in you? Do you think it was the way you were raised or something else in your life, that's driven you?
Interesting, man. It's a wonderful question. I love the focus of this podcast, because you could have all the raw talent in the world, but unless you really have the gumption and the tenacity and the grit, the determination, the persistence, to actually cultivate that talent, somebody out there is going to cultivate it. They might even have less talent than you, but they're going to roll up their sleeves and work harder. I think it's a nature nurture thing. I think I was gifted with that, but at the same time, my parents, Richard and Patricia, both are retired an accountant and a nurse. So like really, really important trades that required lots of training and retraining and continuous training, continuing education. And they were just very hard workers. So they led by example. And I think I soaked up some of that juju in the sense that I always had a paper route. I always raked leaves. I always shoveled snow. Little did I know that they were kind of grooming me to be an entrepreneur. And I think all of us in the creative arts, really all of us in the world, even if we're part of the corporate ladder, we are one downsizing away from being completely self-employed. You know what I mean? So maybe after 20 years, they're going to give you a gold ring and a severance package. Who knows? Most likely not. And then you're back selling yourself and selling your craft, whatever that is. So we're all kind of in sales and we're all entrepreneurs, really.
Totally. Any of the creative occupations or arts, you've got to sell yourself. You've got to come up with your product, whether it's, a song, a script, or just yourself, and learn how to sell that and cultivate it. Like you said, I think that's super important that everyone's entrepreneurial in that way.
Yeah. I mean, no one's going to buy into you and no one's going to hire you to work your craft, whether it be a screenwriter or a poet or a mime or a drummer or a band, or until they buy into you as a human being. People want to be around people that they know, like, and trust. It's something that's very easy to remember. And you can always just kind of remind yourself, like, resumes are great. Business cards are great. Websites are great. Having a presence on social media, all these stuff are very affordable or free tools, but it's really going to come down to people knowing, liking, and trusting you. So crashing those parties, trying to cultivate opportunities for yourself. Once you're given an opportunity, knocking that thing out of the ballpark, exceeding expectations, doing it on a continuing basis. You as a screenwriter, once you get that first one through the system and someone champions it, maybe it gets made into a movie, then immediately you have that credibility and the ability to kind of break the ice in an elevator somewhere, and then it gets a lot easier. But where a lot of people quit before they even get to that first opportunity.
These days, how do you structure your day to stay as productive as possible across all the things that you're doing?
Well, I live in this world of what I call edutainment. So always a performer, whether recording here in my own studio, recording in the studios of Nashville, Los Angeles, living on a tour bus out of a suitcase for the last 27 years, with my best friends, finishing each other's sentences. So that's one side of my personality. And then I have a teacher's heart. I have my master's degree in music education. So teaching and kind of inspiring a new generation of kids and guiding them. Mentorship has always been very important to me. And then around that, I just kind of looked at things that were in my lane of God-given abilities. Like, so I'm a big mouth, I'm comfortable with a microphone in my hand. So that turned into like motivational speaking and hosting, doing MC work. And then they were like, oh, all you got to do is memorize these lines and then develop some sort of a character. Oh, and started taking improv comedy and cold reading classes as an actor and worked my way up to getting a SAG card. So these are just like all things that are kind of in the lane, somehow related to being the outgoing guy that is a drummer. So to keep all those balls in the air, I just kind of have to like prioritize what needs to be done today, what needs to be done by the end of the week, what are my goals for the month, what's my 5-year plan, and just kind of like looking at what's right in front of me. So last week we had to do a job with the band in Cancun, and the band hadn't seen each other for over a month. There wasn't going to be a rehearsal. So it was on to me to make sure that I was flexible, limber. I'm getting my cardio. I put some heavy things over my head every day. I get the sticks in my hand. So I'm working on my fundamentals, making sure that I'm loose. And then I get behind the drums and I'm dusting off these songs that I haven't played in 4 or 5 weeks. And so when I see the band, I am super sharp and they can rely on me. So that week was very consumed with getting ready for that job. And then if something comes up where I have to prepare, whether it be a speech or doing a clinic, and then I'm always writing a book or doing articles for magazines. So all of it's kind of in the air, but you just have to look at what's right in front of you. What do I have to get done today? To keep the whole house of cards from falling down, but always having that vision of like, this is all has to be done by the end of the week. This all has to be done by the end of the month. Like taxes. I mean, 1099s are going out on Monday and I didn't know, I forgot. And so how do you think I'm going to spend my Sunday? That's got to do it.
Flipping paperwork around.
God.
A recurring theme on this show has been that the people who have found success have done things to set themselves apart from their peers, and kind of in that, for lack of a better word, competition. What sorts of things would you say that you have done to set yourself apart from your peers, as you were breaking in or up to today?
Interesting. Yeah. I think it was just, like continually showing up with a smile on your face, being enthusiastic. I have a concept for successful living that I call Crash. And it's the message. It's actually the message of my book on Amazon. It's a Crash Course to Success, 5 Ways to Supercharge Your Personal and Professional Life. And then I bring that messaging into the classroom and the boardroom. In a nutshell, it's just really easy to remember. It's an acronym. So C standing for commitment. So committing to your craft, committing to getting tens of thousands of hours of experience, committing to your customer, committing to your journey, relationships, hopefully cultivating, nurturing sincere, lifelong relationships with people, because people are the gatekeepers to anything successful that you want in your life. People have to champion you. My whole career has been based on that, not resumes, not monster.com. Attitude is 99% of life. Enthusiasm is contagious. People gravitate towards people that are happy. Positive people are healthier. They live longer. They have more friends. They make more money. Skill, identifying the skills you need to be successful in your chosen field, and then not resting on your laurels, continuing to create new skills so you can stay ahead of the Joneses. And then hunger is the final piece, having that hunger that burns in your belly and trying to surround yourself with like-minded people. So commitment, relationships, attitude, skill, hunger. So you put those things together synergistically, you're being a pretty powerful person. You're going to get closer and closer to what you want to get out of life. So I keep that in mind. And then I just show up. I mean, it's every day. I don't know if you noticed this, but like when you're trying to like get on track physically, maybe you took a couple of months off from your workout program, you want to get back on it. And you notice that the results you get are way stronger when you just, even if you work out 20 minutes a day, but every day. Right. So as just getting those sticks in my hands every day for all these 40s, years or 45 years of playing the drums and just doing that consistently and always wanting to move forward with my skill set. And then the other thing is just saying yes to everything. There's a lot of, I don't want to be the old guy that's like, get off my lawn. But, back in our day, when you wanted to do something, I just schlepped those drums around everywhere. And I played pool parties and corporate parties and supermarket grand openings and honky tonks and strip clubs. And I just said yes to everything to get that experience. It was more time in the trenches. And today's kids are like, I'm going to be an influencer. I'm just going to buy really good cameras and I'm going to put my content on the internet. And I'm only going to take jobs that pay more than $500 and make sure that I don't have to learn a lot of material. Like, man, someone would call me and be like, hey, man, you got to know 100 songs by tomorrow. The bus is leaving at 9 a.m. So then you stay up all night and you write out all the music and then you go and you shake these strangers' hands. You go and you knock it out of the ballpark and then they tell someone about it. It's a total word of mouth industry. And good news travels fast, but bad news travels 10 times as fast. So what I did was just say yes to everything and tried to continually exceed expectations and then hope that the grassroots marketing would work. And, people want to work with people they know, like, and trust. So there you go. So it takes time. It could take 5 minutes. You land in Nashville or New York City or Los Angeles, you're getting your bag. You meet somebody, it makes a difference in your life for the rest of your life, or it could take 5 years of grinding, pressing the flesh, saying yes. And that was the case for me. It was grinding.
So you seem like a very positive person. I'm definitely that way myself. I'm a glass half full type of person.
Yeah.
So what's your strategy or your perspective for keeping that positivity and that persistence, during the times when things aren't going your way, or you're, you get the no, you get the rejection. How are you, pushing on?
These are great questions. And I would say that the advice would be to literally fall in love with rejection, fall in love with the journey, because some of the most incredible, satisfying, sexy times in people's lives, and they don't even realize it, is that when you're feverishly pursuing bringing your dreams to fruition. It's such an exceptional time in your life. So I remember living with too many guys in a crash pad and driving a broken down minivan and eating ramen noodles and parking cars and waiting tables and then getting up in the morning to be a substitute teacher, just getting in from playing the nightclubs till at 3 a.m. So you're like feverishly pursuing this goal in life, maxing out credit cards and for groceries. It was like a special time, and it's this part of this whole journey. So, but staying positive is something that you can do with tools like surround yourself with those birds of a feather, people that have common goals and visions for their lives, so you can kind of lift each other up and be accountable to each other. Another thing you could do is eat really colorful food, eat healthy food, get exercise, release those endorphins. Drumming is a great thing you could do to stay positive because, you're working both sides of your brain. You improve circulation, you improve coordination. It reduces depression and anxiety. Everyone should go out and buy a drum set. You can get it for $600 now, or you just get a little hand drum at Guitar Center. They're like $150. Do some YouTube videos, and I'm telling you, music therapy is a big deal. Listening to your favorite songs, you can put like positive music playlists together on Spotify or Apple or Pandora. And then great film, I love Rocky, I love Alien, I love Shawshank Redemption, I love Papillon. I have my favorite movies that I can go to, Lord of the Rings, they're going to kind of bring up my energy. Things like, meditation, maybe faith in a higher power, something bigger than yourself. And so you put all those things together, those techniques so food, fashion, film, friends, great positive movies, great literature, and then just trying to use these things as a technique to kind of reset, recharge, and stay on the path, because positive people and a positive thought, it's the way to go, because cultivating a negative thought and maintaining that frame of mind actually takes twice as much energy. So why don't we just play in Candyland? No molasses swamp there. Right? No, we just stay with the unicorns and the rainbows. And it's a hard thing to do, and especially in today's world. And I know we're all struggling mentally. I know this thing for an outgoing person, for an extrovert, has been very difficult for me. To have my social life impacted like this has been very not fun for me.
What specific part of your work ethic do you think has made the most impact on the success that you've had to this point?
I think a big selling point to anybody is extreme enthusiasm, like gratitude and humility. So bringing your best self to the table, being grateful and realizing that someone trusted in you and gave you an opportunity. So it's your responsibility to make them look great, right? So someone championed you, and then you have to go and you have to make them look great and do a fantastic job for them. And another thing is just being organized. There's just a lot of, musicians and creatives get a bad rap because we are like thought to only use one side of our brain. But if we want to use our one side of our brain, that creative side of our brain, and monetize our craft, which is the hard part, because you're putting together art and business. And so they don't necessarily go together. But if you could just create that other side of your mind where maybe you're reading nonfiction. Like as I got older, I spent less time reading things about dragons and monsters and sorcerers, even though I love that stuff. I'm reading things about personal development and growing my business, using social media in a smart way. So those other sides of my brain that can actually help me run a tight business. But at the very least, you have to be immediately responding to all forms of communication because it's an expectation. Because if somebody's going to return the call faster because you turned your phone off because you went to go play golf, you're going to lose the job, right? And then just being hyper organized, like when I travel, I've got 2 of everything. I'm thinking like a Boy Scout, it's like, well, what if I get a stain on my jacket? Well, there's the other jacket. Well, what if I break this snare drum? Well, there's another snare drum that I've already ordered ahead of time. It's right there. Everything I'm thinking 10 steps ahead. So if Murphy's Law comes around, it's not going to derail me. But I think being hyper enthusiastic and being hyper organized are 2 ways to really set yourself apart from other creatives, because most creatives are literally they're gooey messes of creativity that don't know how to run their life.
Totally. So anything that you want to plug or talk about before we go?
Oh God. Geez. Well, for me, it's so easy. I just have richredmond.com. It's Redmond. And that's my hub for kind of like all things. If you wanted to hire me to act in your film or MC your event, to do a customized keynote for you, and then God forbid, if you want me to play drums on your next record, we could do that pretty easily as well. And there's I have the podcast just like you. I got just 137 episodes, and I'm interviewing musicians, actors, comedians, thought leaders, having a blast. And anybody out there that's doing a podcast, my hats are off to you, because there's so much noise. It's so clouded. But my podcast is already in the top 1% of podcasts in the world. You know why? Because of the follow through. It's the idea that 1% is massively crowded space, but the other 99% are mostly people that start a podcast. They do 2 episodes and they go, this is really hard. And then they never do one again.
Yeah.
So just keep moving forward and all the things that you're doing, and you'll start to reap the rewards, and that'll inspire you and ignite you and want you to keep putting in the work. And it's this beautiful cycle of self-empowerment.
Thank you so much for talking with me today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening today. Please subscribe to the Artist Work Ethic podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts, and please rate and review the show. Follow us on Instagram at The Artist's Work Ethic, and check out theartistsworkethic.com.